have some dangerous side effects. I'm Lloyd Robertson for all of us here at CTV News. Good night.
This is CTV.
Home Improvement, Sunday to Friday at 7 on ATV.
The minister can do whatever he deems necessary, and I don't think anyone should have that power.
Tonight, pushing ahead, Nova Scotia teachers stick to their plans.
We give our company the greatest chance for success in the future in a very competitive environment.
Preparing for the inquiry into the strike at the Irving refinery.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, through the bumps of time in your prime.
On a roll, the Stones crank out another album.
Now, from the #1 news team in Atlantic Canada, this is the ATV Late News.
And boy, what a day across the Maritimes. The wind and rainstorm that tore through the region caused a lot of problems. Maintenance crews were busy dealing with down power lines and toppled trees. Ferry service was disrupted, leaving passengers stranded. Tonight, the storm is moving out of the region. And Steve Weigel will be here later with an update on the situation. Morning, everyone. Glad you could join us at this late hour. Tonight, teachers across Nova Scotia are planning strategy in their fight against education reform. They're angry about the province's new Education Act. And even though the Education Minister has promised to change it, the teachers are not backing off. They're still planning to go ahead with a strike vote this Friday. And Wednesday, they held province-wide meetings to discuss their options.
Not the guarantees that we've been given by the minister are sufficient to stall a walkout.
Tonight's meeting with Halifax County teachers certainly wasn't the only one held by the NSTU today. In fact, the union held meetings.
News.
Well, the union wants a copy of the proposed changes signed by the minister by Saturday's union executive meeting. That meeting will essentially decide if and when teachers go on strike. Well, teachers aren't the only ones worried about their jobs these days. Nova Scotia's health minister says 2,500 hospital jobs could be cut as the province overhauls the healthcare system. Ron Stewart called the job loss figure a reasonable estimate of the impact of restructuring over the next few years. Stewart says the layoffs will be phased in and new health programs will create jobs for some of the people put out of work.
In that phase-in over 3 years, Rick, there will be times at which we would have another program opening that would blunt some of those changes.
If you are discharged home and you are not looked after by the properly trained and prepared people, then your life could indeed be in jeopardy. Your health could be in jeopardy.
The cuts will hit the Halifax area hardest with the loss of between 800 and 1,000 jobs. No one's been laid off yet, even though a major roof fall at Cape Breton's largest coal mine has halted production. No one was injured when a section of the failing colliery's only working coal face suddenly collapsed.
Overall, we've got a problem with rock outbursts, we've got sandstone problems, we've got water problems, and we've got gas problems there, and it's been ongoing.
The union says the latest geological problems should convince DevCo to push ahead with plans to open a new mine at Donkin. On another labor front, a government-appointed commission of inquiry will soon get underway into the 18-month-old Irving refinery strike in St. John. Last Thursday, workers voted overwhelmingly to reject the company's final offer, an offer which would have ended the dispute, but at a cost of more than 80 jobs. ATV's Sally Cummings now with the latest.
We have an opportunity to...
ATV News.
Now, Irving officials say more than 20 refineries have shut down in Canada since the 1970s. It's invested $250 million to remain competitive and plans to invest another $250 million, and it wants to be able to choose its best workers as well. To the law courts now. The trial of American Richard James Sokobason is underway. He's charged with first-degree murder in the August 1994 shooting death of Central West River service station attendant Troy Frazier. On Wednesday, the court was shown a series of photos and videotape showing Frazier lying on his back inside the service station. There were also pictures of the pickup truck allegedly used in that crime. A hearing in Halifax is deciding whether a 17-year-old boy charged with murdering a Dartmouth cabbie should be tried as an adult. The teen was arrested 2 months ago after Bill Crawley was found dead in his taxi in a Dartmouth suburb. Following the murder, several hundred Metro cabbies lobbied the courts to have the youth tried in adult court.
Are you optimistic?
It's very difficult to say. This is entirely a matter for the court. I certainly have my own view of it, but it's going to depend entirely whether or not the judge sees things the same way that I do.
If found guilty in youth court, the maximum sentence would be 5 years. In adult court, it's life. The hearing is expected to take 3 days. A court in St. John heard today that 62-year-old Rodney Curry died from a single stab wound to the heart. Curry was found last June 17th lying on his bed in a Carmarthen Street rooming house. 49-year-old Gerald Wayne Cook is charged with second-degree murder in connection with the death. The Crown has refused a plea of guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter. The alleged crime scene is at the same address of an arson fire last year that took the lives of 4 people. A St. John man is currently serving a life sentence for those murders. A Glace Bay man has been charged after Tuesday's standoff with police. 28-year-old Wayne Keynes has pleaded not guilty to 3 weapons charges. He was arrested after police entered this home and found a man asleep. No one was injured in the incident. Police seized several weapons. And police are now on the lookout for a man wanted for questioning in connection with last week's double homicide in British Settlement, New Brunswick. Sackville Mounties want to talk to Raymond White of Woodpoint about the deaths of Mary Lou Barnes and her 12-year-old son. Police will not say White is a suspect, but say he may be useful with information. White was questioned but has since disappeared. Mining consultant Adrian Golby changed his tune on Wednesday at the Westray inquiry. On Tuesday, he testified Westray didn't have the detailed mining plans required to operate an underground coal mine. On Wednesday, he admitted his opinion was not based on a final copy which included more information. Commission Counsel John Merrick says the issue of what plans should be required will be addressed.
Degree should a regulatory agency require before they would approve plans or approve changes to plans. That will be an issue that will have to be discussed, and that'll be an issue that I'm sure the department will have views on.
Golby has concluded his testimony. Another consultant takes the stand on Thursday. That's the news for now. We have more coming up later in this half hour. Time now for a first look at the weather, and we go to Steve Weigel in the ATV Weather Center. Steve?
Thanks very much, John. We have a very intense low-pressure system pushing away from the Maritimes, but heavy rainfall and wind warnings continue for the Maritimes, or parts of the Maritimes overnight. I'll have all the details on the weather. It's all coming up. John.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Still ahead tonight, the Rolling Stones on a roll, and with a new album, we'll show you. But coming up next, hosting the Grey Cup game is an economic bonanza. That and the rest of the sports when we come back in a couple of minutes.
Have no fear, hockey fans. Rock'em Sock'em 7 is here. 1 hour of the best goals, bloopers, saves, and hits, and more hits. And of course, Coach's Corner. Plus, Grips tells you how to buy the proper equipment. Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em 7 from Quality. He stores now.
You probably know my dad is better than Cent because he's still around at Boxing Day.
You're asking me what's changed?
To any other, it'll go just about anywhere.
If he gets on, it's 53% of the time the opposition scores.
Well, Barry Larkin is the National League MVP for the 1995 season. Voting came down Wednesday, and his total of 281 points earned him the honor. Dante Bichette was second with 251. Greg Maddux in third place with 249. Just 4 games in the National Hockey League tonight. This game in Buffalo had the Sabres hosting the Dallas Stars. And Dominic Hasek had 29 saves, and Randy Burridge and Pat LaFontaine each scored a goal to give the Sabres a 2-1 win. Andy Moog had 17 saves for the Stars, who've gone winless now in their last 7 games. In the NBA, a whole load of games tonight. Here in Beantown, Karl Malone scored 34 points, including 11 in a row for the Jazz to give Utah 102-90 victory over the Celtics. Celtics rookie Eric Williams, who finished with 17 points off the bench, scored 13 consecutive points for Boston to cut a 7-point deficit to 81-78 with 7 minutes and 47 seconds left to play. Robert Horry drained a three-pointer at the buzzer as the Houston Rockets shaded the host Toronto Raptors 96-93. Horry's 26-footer was his only basket of the game. Kenny Smith led the two-time defending champs with 22 points, while Chucky Brown and Clyde Drexler had 18 each. Zan Tabak scored a career-high 20 points for the Raptors, who also got 20 from Damon Stoudemire. Now, here are all of tonight's hockey scores and those in the NBA. Well, the countdown is underway to the Grey Cup later in the month. This year, Regina is the host city for the Canadian Football Classic, and by all accounts, it's having a big economic impact.
The Grey Cup in Regina has attracted so much attention that even the Geese are delaying their departure south. Grey Cup spirit is everywhere. $20 million is expected to be injected into the Regina economy. At the Ryder store, the theme is spend lots of money.
Oh, it's been just booming. We're busy all the time. It's almost like a 13-hour thing. People are just coming in and just looking around and buying lots.
Hotels have been booked solid for over a year.
Hi there. Do you have any rooms for Grey Cup?
Nothing at all available, sorry. Looks solid.
We're sold out, yes. It's been wonderful for business, yeah. As I mentioned, at this point, with just the events really starting to get underway and whatnot.
Mayor Doug Archer echoes what most businesses are saying.
Well, we expect that the economic impact is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 million. And I think the Grey Cup means to Regina something like the Olympics meant to the city of Calgary. It's a little different scale, but we're a smaller community as well. But it's as important to us as the Olympics were to Calgary.
The Regina Leader-Post even has a classified section on Grey Cup, ranging from ticket sales to parking.
So it's going to be quite a weekend for football with the Grey Cup on Sunday, and of course the Atlantic Bowl at St. Mary's University on Saturday. And that's our look at sports for tonight. Coming up, Canada's Jan Arden in the Maritimes on a concert tour. You'll meet her. Coming up first, after a day of torrential rain and high winds, the drying out process is beginning. Steve Wiegel and the forecasts when we come back.
When babies teethe,
it is a significant milestone, one of which all of you can be extremely proud.
That's PEI Premier Catherine Callbeck joining in the 150th anniversary celebrations on Wednesday at Hillsborough Hospital in Charlottetown. Originally called the Lunatic Asylum and House of Industry, the hospital has been the center point of treatment for mental illness and emotional disorders on the island since way back in 1845. Now let's go over to Steve Wiegel and your overnight and Thursday forecast. Steve?
All right, the rain is beginning to end across the Maritimes. We have a good shot of our low-pressure system, our nor'easter. First one of the season, beginning to push out right now, some clearing in behind that. But the cloud is wrapping around, and although there are some sunny breaks in the forecast for tomorrow, we're looking at generally cloudy skies the next couple of days. Here is the systems map for tomorrow. One low pushes out of the Maritimes. Here comes another low, which is going to bring a few showers to Nova Scotia and to Prince Edward Island by later tomorrow. A ridge of high pressure pushes in for later in the week. Friday and Saturday, we'll start to see some clearing. And Saturday, in fact, mainly sunny conditions, as Sunday also, as a ridge of high pressure slides just to our south. Here's the forecast in detail overnight. Still, the heavy rainfall and the wind warnings are in effect for Prince Edward Island and Cape Breton. Gusts to 90, 100 kilometers an hour, and probably 120 up through the western side of the Cape Breton Highlands. Cool overnight, starting to cool down in New Brunswick. Scattered showers are a good bet. The rain will begin to taper off into the overnight hours. Tomorrow, still the chance of a shower out there. Some sunny breaks expected for New Brunswick during the day, and the rain will begin to taper off in Prince Edward Island and Cape Breton. 6 to 10 degrees for daytime highs tomorrow, so not as mild as we saw during the day today. Friday, some sunny breaks in store, probably some morning showers in the forecast, and for Saturday and Sunday, hey, lots of sunshine and some very nice temperatures after this big first storm of fall. Have a great night.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Well, in 3 years, she's won just about every music award in Canada, including 3 Junos. Jann Arden's music is a beacon for troubled souls. Jann Arden is on a cross-Canada tour right now, and on Wednesday night she was in Halifax at the Rebecca Cohen Auditorium. You know, you'd think with being a celebrity that privacy would be out the window, but...
You know what? Honestly, not much has changed for me. And I know that seems like impossible, but I mean, people very, very seldom come up to me, like once in a blue moon. We were just talking earlier about, you know, when you're getting a feminine protection at Safeway, someone will come up to you, oh, hi! Please don't go off me right now. I'm trying to buy bleach. But it's been a really good couple of years, and it's because I have so many people working hard on my behalf. I'd like to take all the credit, but I can't, unfortunately.
Jann Arden shared the bill Wednesday evening with another chart-topping act, Hemingway Corner. The guys are still reeling from the success of their first #1 single, Big Sky, and now they're off to tour the country, of course, with Jann Arden. Well, amid all the forthcoming hype about the Beatles anthology, it might be possible to overlook the release of a new Rolling Stones album. However, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards have made themselves available to talk about the new CD, which the Stones have titled Stripped.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, through the bumps of time and you climb, and then you...
No, you're not hallucinating. It's the Rolling Stones performing the Bob Dylan song Like a Rolling Stone with Patricia Arquette starring in the music video. The Dylan song, of course, a natural for the Stones, but one they never dared to record until now.
If Bob had written just like a Beatle or a Led Zeppelin, maybe we would have done it. It's one of those songs, what a shame it says Rolling Stone, because it would have seemed gratuitous to us, or there was, you know, it was just too obvious.
I played this song like sitting around at parties and so on, and I tried to introduce it a little bit when we were rehearsing for South America, and everyone went, yeah, okay, it's a pretty sort of wacky idea.
But unlike this track, most of the new CD sounds like the Rolling Stones Unplugged. It's stripped-down versions of mostly older Stones songs, hence the album's name, Stripped.
Yeah, I mean, people tend to forget that Stones are quite an acoustic band, and that always have been. And also, it's nice to be able to hit a couple of songs again and throw in those licks that you wished you'd got in the first time, you know.
They're all recorded either in rehearsal or in a theatre or small clubs of 100, you know, maybe 1,000 people. So they're really the antithesis of what the Voodoo Lounge tour was, which was a very big, you know, tour with all the sort of whistles and lights and bells and everything.
If you didn't catch the Voodoo Lounge tour, you can take a backstage look at it and the band on a new CD-ROM. The next leg of the tour takes them to India for the first time, but not China.
The Chinese said we couldn't come in for cultural pollution, which I said, damn right, we're famous for that. And the other one was may cause traffic jams. So if you can't stand cultural pollution and traffic jams, don't come see the Stones, you know?
From CD bars to CD-ROM, Rolling Stones have covered a lot of ground. They don't plan to stop now. Mark Shearer, CNN Entertainment News, New York.
Guys, just as good as they ever were, aren't they? Well, coming up Thursday on Live at 5, she's one of the hottest pop stars in the nation, and now Jann Arden is in the Maritimes. Meet Jann Arden during a one-on-one interview Thursday on Live at 5. And then a 6, ATV's Rick Rant on the trail of high-flying bureaucrats who've been spending a lot of the time in Europe these days. But are they winging their way to government waste? Find out Thursday on the ATV Evening News at 6. As we showed you earlier, Canadian singing sensation Jan Arden of Calgary in Halifax for a concert Wednesday night. Jan has a new single riding high on the charts. This is Good Mother to take us out of here. Enjoy. See you tomorrow night.